And Artus, Generation Estates. Tell us briefly what Generation Estates does.
Well, Generation Estates is a London-based development company. We have specialised in the student accommodation sector since 2003, when we first became involved with a large project in joint venture with Blackstone. Two further projects followed that, and we created the Nido student living platform as part of that, which was sold in 2012. Subsequent to that, we created a further London-based student platform called Pure Student Living. This is financed by the Carlyle Group. Currently comprises approximately 2,100 beds in 5 schemes in London.
Over the last 10 years since Generation Estate exists, you must have seen the market changing dramatically in London.
Very much so. When we first came into the space, we were one of the really early movers. Unite, one of the main competitors, started to invest in London actively probably in 2005. And there it stood pretty much for the next few years. With the financial crisis commencing in 2008, a lot of opportunity opened up for student accommodation in London, and that brought a whole raft of new participants into the sector. A lot of that was private equity funded, and we're now seeing those other platforms starting to stabilise, and the nature of the sector has changed, dramatically. I could probably list 16 operator competitors now in London, whereas when we first got involved with it, there was probably 2 or 3.
You said already there's a lot of money coming into not only London but also into the sector, the student. What makes it so attractive?
I think that there's a number of characteristics of student accommodation that appeal to, if you like, global capital. One is that the education sector in the UK is extremely strong. It has a heavy international bias and is continuing to succeed in attracting increasing numbers of overseas students. There is a general undersupply of accommodation, and that leads to very stable income streams, added to which, generally speaking, the income streams, they go up every year, unlike a lot of institutional property sectors where in the UK, where you're tied to a 5-year rent review pattern, you're getting annual increases with student accommodation, and so that again appeals to a lot of investors. But I think there's a scarcity element to it that's combined with the general attractiveness of the UK as a home for international investment that drives the interest from the capital that we're now seeing.
Mm. Now we have a situation over the last, especially in London, that there's a lot of growth in number of students, especially foreign students, but also domestic students. Is there a risk attached to it that it's going to grow in the long term?
I think that inevitably, because the London market is more heavily than most dominated by international students, in our platform, we have about 80% international students. Nido, one of our competitors, has about 70%. And so clearly there is a match